conflict cannot survive without your participation. A very famous issue among our kids is the occurrence of a conflict. If you are going to discuss what is conflict, conflict is the breakdown of cooperation between two parties. Firstly, we have to understand the psychological response behind the conflict. Stress, aggressive confrontation, fight and flight, or even postponement. What about the conflict styles? A conflict style is the style that will be adopted by a certain person while he is or she is in a conflict. We have 5 types of conflict styles: competition, collaboration, compromise, avoidance, and accommodation. Which of them is the best? We have to clarify this issue in details. Some kids prefer a style which is the collaborative style, but psychologically we have to know that each style has a certain situation. We have to use this style in this situation. Let's start with the competitive style. The competitive style has to be used in emergency. So if we have a conflict in emergency, we have to be very competitive. The second conflict style, which is the collaboration, it's the best, but actually it needs the approval of both sides. When to use the accommodation? We have to be accommodating when we are at a fault, and we have to teach our children to use this style because we lack the concept of apology. We have to create this concept among our kids. Concerning the avoidance style, we have to know that this style has to be used as a time to think, which means it's not a permanent style, because avoidance style is a lose-lose approach. Finally, the right situation for using the compromise is when there is no time for the collaboration. So the compromise is an alternative approach or conflict style to collaboration when there is no time for adopting the collaborative style. What about the different steps that we should teach our kids in order to resolve a conflict? Firstly, we have to acknowledge that there is a conflict. The second step is to find the reason behind the conflict. Then we have to hear all points of view. But we have to hear each point of view in a separate situation. Explore the different ways to resolve the conflict. Gain agreement on the solution, which means we have to have the buy-in of our kids concerning this solution. And finally, we have to allocate a follow-up session in order to track the progress of this conflict management. What about the language suggestions? Expressions that has to be avoided and the replacement for these expressions. Avoid has to be replaced with use. You should, I need. You are, my perception is. Who is to blame? What should we do? So we have to talk in a positive way. We have to avoid the expressions that can induce more and more conflict. We have 5 final tips for helping our kids to avoid conflict or even to manage conflict. Firstly, we have to calm down. Parents and teachers has to be very patient. We have to teach our kids to apologize well. What are the criteria of good apology? Good apology, it means to start with I'm sorry, a promise to fix this issue, a promise to behave better next time. The 4th step is promoting solution finding. And finally, we have to practice the follow-up in order to make sure that this conflict has been ended.